Hey, it's Dave. I'm out here at the property, but in the shed, the barn, and getting ready to make some summer sausage. So I guess each year probably I buy a kit, at least one kit. Last year I made 25 pounds, and between me and my daughter and friends and stuff, I have, I think, a half a stick left. So it goes pretty quick at the house, and so it's probably the most favorite thing that I make out of the deer meat. I also like the sausage I make, but this definitely, summer sausage definitely goes quick. So usually I buy, a kit, and I did again this year. I got the Fat Boy summer sausage kit. I bought it on Amazon. So they have a variety. Actually, this one's not on Amazon right now. I saw it on eBay, but it's not on Amazon anymore. So it makes 25 pounds, and that's the process we'll be following, is their directions to make 25 pounds. And so the first thing I got to do is get my mixture of meat set. I have in my fridge, I've got pork. This is deer meat. I have deer meat sitting out right now, and going to do some ciphering. What I want to get is, they say 80-20 is the minimum. I like to go 30% at the minimum of pork fat. I use, for pork fat, I usually use, I'll buy during the year when it's on sale, either a pork shoulder or a pork butt. I always look for something fatty. This past year I also bought pork rib trimmings. So I put that in there too. So anyway, it's anything that's got a lot of fat content in it on pork that goes on sale. Can't use bacon, that won't work, but you need something fatty. So anyways, that's what I'll be mixing it with. So the first thing I gotta do is get my percentages right, the weights right. And then from there, I can go ahead and start the grind. So let me get the weight right, and then we'll get to grinding. All right, so using all my fingers and toes and ciphering this all out, the deer meat comes up to about 64% at 16 pounds. So I'll use 9 pounds of pork, and that, roughly 25 pounds. The 9 pounds would be 36%. So I'm over 30, which is good. I definitely want it to be in the 30-ish range, so that works out. So I have 2 of these tubs with deer meat in it and 1 with pork. And what I do, I keep this out, the one that's out being ground, you want to keep it chilled, so it's been in the freezer. I just put it out of the freezer. And then I put the pork and the other deer one into the freezer. I moved them from the fridge to the freezer because you want them to keep them as cold as you can during this process. It really helps on the grind. So, and you'll see as this warms up, it gets sloppy, and so it's just harder to grind. It's a lot easier when it's chilly. All right, so I'm using the coarse grind holes first, and so then the second time I grind, after the meat's all been mixed in the mixer, I'll grind fine. But this time I'm going to do coarse, and we'll grind everything. So you see, it's just a process of swapping and cleaning out trays. The other thing I should say, here's a mistake that's made a lot. The first time you use a grinder is the direction you put your blade in. And so this is your blade. It's just a small, and it fits on the end of this tube, the spiral thing. This is what actually pushes all the meat to the blade. And sometimes people will confuse and put the blade facing, with the sharp end facing towards the auger. Actually, you want the sharp end facing towards the blade, or towards the face, the coarse face. And so put that in. So the blade faces that. And actually on this machine, it's the only way it will work. It's made, it's dummy proof. And then you just tighten this down. And you'll see how it works. A lot of you have done grinding before, it's no big, you know, this is just how I do it. Anyway, so I have my grinder on. We'll turn it on to grind. And then it's just a matter of putting this stuff through it. Usually you don't have to do a whole lot of pushing, just sometimes if a piece gets a little backwards in there. You can see this thing grinds faster than I can fill it. It's Cabela's, but it's not their pro model or anything. It's just one for home use. The other thing you always got to have when grinding meat, lots of paper towels. I try to remember to wear gloves, but I don't have any with me today. So, not gonna happen. So you can see, essential part of doing this is these trays. And I use a food grade, that's what I would suggest. Don't go cheap on it. You don't want something that's gonna harbor bacteria. I'll tell you, the first time I did any kind of grinding, I'm glad I had somebody showing me, but still, it's intimidating. It was intimidating to me. You just don't have a lot of confidence in what you're doing, so you want to try to do it right. Lily's still trying to get some meat. Yeah, don't blame her. But after a few times of doing it and plenty of failures, so the first failure I had was I did not add enough. I didn't add anything. I just used straight deer meat because that's what the instructions said. You could use only deer meat in your summer sausage. Dry, hard, no good. So I would not recommend that. So you got to add something to give it. The meat is just too lean. So that was a fail. So I learned there. Pork's real fat, so you'll see that this doesn't grind as easy as the deer meat. It's got so much fat to it. So the other thing that's handy when you're doing grinding and processing meat is make sure you got a big trash bag or trash can that you can throw stuff in. All right, so that's all the pork. We'll let that grind through. Let me take care of this and then we'll get set up to do some mixing. All right, so I got my mixing machine. I'm the machine. My mixer set up. So I don't remember how many pounds it holds. We'll fill it up. I think it's pretty close to 25, but we'll see. Anyways, it just, let me give you a closer look at it. Hold on. So you can see it's got paddles, and I'll just mix the meat as I turn it. Right now we just want to get a good mix of the pork and the deer meat together. Then we'll do another grind, and then we'll be ready for mixing the seasoning and stuff into and making the summer sausage. So dump that stuff in. And move you to the side. And see if we can put about half of this pork in. All right, we'll mix this together. So the mixer I have attached to this table with some clamps. If you don't do that, it'll go all over the place. So pretty essential you do that. A lot of force going on there. See there, the blade, one of the paddles is hitting one of the dividers. So I'm gonna go backwards for a little bit. Pretty good mix. You can see eventually it folds it all in there. Takes a little bit of effort. So got our meat mixed. I'm gonna put it back into the buckets, put it in the fridge, and then bucket by bucket we'll regrind. So we got the pork and deer meat, venison mixed. So the next step is to regrind. And so I put the smaller plate in, and I'm gonna regrind it back through. Now this will be a slower process than what you did with the original meat because it's a finer grind. Plus this stuff is a little sticky, so it takes a little bit to push it all through. But anyways, it's not a big deal. It's just different because it's already ground. So grinding it again, and then I have 2 pans of this to regrind, and then we'll be ready to mix sausage. All right, I think I have everything ready. I think I have everything ready to do the mixing to summer sausage. So it says we're doing a 25-pound batch. We're slightly less, but it'll be okay. So it says use all of these spices and all the seasoning. So I split the cure in half, so each bowl has one. The seasoning, and then the other pan of meat's in the fridge. So we got 2 of those, and then water. I'll have to refill that. So it said 3 1/8 cup seasoning, cure, water. All right. I'll go ahead and put my meat in here. Makes a lot of difference if you're only doing, I'm pretty sure this thing is made for 15 pounds, not 25. Might be 25 then. But it was all I could do to do 25. So splitting in half. And then I thought about it. I think that's how I did it last year too. So it makes sense. All right, so mix that up. Then it says, add mixture to the ground meat and mix thoroughly until tacky. Add more water if necessary. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take it, put it in the fridge, do the next batch, and get it ready. We'll put it in the fridge, and then we'll start filling the casings. The interesting thing here, it doesn't say to moisten the casings before, but I'm going to go ahead and do that because that's how, I think if you don't moisten the casings, it would suck up all the water out of the sausage. But the casings are pliable. They're not like super stiff, so I don't know what the deal is there. It's different than anything I've ever done, but that doesn't mean anything really. All right, are you mixed? Yeah, I guess you are. All right. Group of cure at the bottom that does not want to come out. Did not mix up very well. All right, there. You won't have very good sausage if you don't have the cure in it. All right, this thing mixed. It's just starting to get a little bit tacky. It's not there yet. You can tell when it's tacky because it starts to come over like in sticky lumps. The meat pulls from itself. Here, I can show you. Let me show you real quick. Tacky. See how the meat's starting to separate? It's sticking to itself and it's leaving like little, see the little points sticking out of the meat? It's leaving those because it's getting tacky. Okay, that's pretty good. Let me get this all out of here. All right, now it's time to stuff some sausages. So the container, this is what the press goes through. So I'm gonna fill this up with the summer sausage meat. which you saw me mix. Not sure how much this does at a time. It takes a few times through. I don't know, but I counted 8 of these and 25 pounds. It's like a little over 3 pounds per one. I'm not a big fan of that. If I'd known that, I would not have got this kit. I can, and probably what I will do, is at about halfway, I'll do a tie and then finish the rest and do a tie here. I'll have to then do a cut, so it'll be like a double tie. Anyway, that's a little frustrating. Wish they would have told you that. So, on the packet, those kind of things are decision makers for me. You know, I like the ones that give you the little. They give you a bunch of them, and they usually hold about 1 pound each, which I find, well, that's a pretty good amount. But now I gotta spend a lot of time trying to measure halfway, and what a bother. When they could have just told you, hey, this comes with 3 pound casings. That's a lot of summer sausage at a time, 3 pounds. Not that you couldn't go through it, but all right, let's see where that takes us. All right, so I did moisten the casings. It didn't say to, but I just think it makes it easier to use. And so, this is set up, clamped to the table. Let me get this out of the way so you can see a little bit better. So, clamped to the table. It's just a press. So all it does is it presses and it come out through this tube. Because we're making summer sausage into a big opening, I'm using the biggest tube. So this should go fairly quick. Assuming I can open the casings. All right, once you get it open, then you just really just bunch it up on there. Now, when this starts filling, you want to make sure it fills it full. Don't leave air gaps. So you hold it, kind of monitor it. All right, let's give her a whirl. See what we have here. Okay, so it's kind of forcing my hand along as it fills up. It kind of feels like it's going to burst, but it's not going to burst. Just keep a firm grip on it. It's at this point in the video where Lily decided it was her turn to talk. So she spends a tremendous amount of time barking. So to play over that, I'm sorry for the voiceover, but you can see right now the sausage is filling up and I'm getting ready to pinch off the first section and do the first tie. And you notice that I back off the sausage stuffer, and that releases the pressure. And then I just squeeze it tight, and then I put my first tie on, make it tight. I just do a regular knot. Then I'll put a second tie on here in a second. And that second tie will actually be the part that ties the end of the second sausage. So really you're doing 2 ties right next to each other. So you see I'm tightening that off and getting ready to now finish the stuffing. And the second sausage, although small, still is a summer sausage. And filling up the casing and then getting ready to tie off its end. So the key here is not to have any air pockets. So you see I fill, I back off, I fill, I back off. So that's kind of the process you go through. All right, Dave out. Trying to get enough to get a tie. Well, you just had made yourself known today, huh? Yeah. All right, so anyway, that's 2. So, hey, finished. A little disappointed in Fat Man. I ran out of casings on the second batch of 12 pounds. I don't know how else you could do it. I don't see how they had 25 pounds worth of casings there. Plus, I don't like how they did their casings. I had one casing blow out on the side, so I just hope their taste was a lot better than their kit. But hey, that's on me because I chose to do something that I hadn't done before and buy something a little different. All right, so that's the way it goes sometimes. Hey, you try something and sometimes it's, the best thing in the world, and sometimes it just doesn't work out. This time it didn't work out as much as well as I would have liked. I did these in like no time. I filled these up, tied them off. They were easy peasy. The others, it was just a struggle between them breaking, and tying them off was a real pain. Woo! So I'm glad I'm done. So start to finish, I started at around 9 o'clock this morning, and right now it's 1 o'clock. So that's about 4 hours of effort. And I have roughly 22 pounds, 23 pounds of summer sausage. So the next step that I won't show you, but it's still a critical part, you can either cure them in your oven, or if you have a smoker, you can smoke cure them. It depends upon how you choose to do it and what the ingredients or package that you choose to buy, how they tell you to do it. Just follow those directions, but you have to cure it. So it tells you now you have to let it rest for 24 hours, 12 to 24 hours in a fridge. So it has to be cooled for that long. So there's nothing to do right now other than cool it. So that's what we're gonna do. And then I'll actually, on my smoker, I'll do it, and I'll try to get some pictures of that to show you. Hey, it's Dave. Not at the property, at the house. So just put a little conclusion in this. Let's give it a cut to it, open it up, and give it a taste. See what the Fat Boy sausage tastes like. If I can cut it open. It looks good. It's got a nice, good look on the middle. Got some of that casing away. You're seeing our kitchen at the house. Oh, it smells really good too. Maybe that's too hard on the Fat Boy. So let me taste it first, and then I'll tell you what we did here. It was really good. I give them credit. It's a good mix. So to get it to look like this, so at the property, we stuffed it. Everything was ready and had to cure in the fridge. Takes about 24 hours. And then you got to cook it. And you got your choice. You can put it in the oven on a rack, or you can put it in a smoker. I put it in a smoker. I take the ends and I tie it to the rack, and I hang the sausage and I let it cook. I put it on 180, and I started at about 8 this morning, and it finished right around noon to get them all done. I found in my smoker, the ones on the outside got done about 45 minutes before the ones on the inside. So it ended up where I had to check the temperature on each one of them. That's because these are so thick compared to the ones I did last year. But it's got a great taste. It's a good looking summer sausage, I gotta admit. So yeah, Fat Man, that's what it is, Fat Man's mix. I don't know if it's still made anymore. I can only find it for sale on eBay, and I'll put that link in the description. So, hey, it concluded well. I wasn't real happy at all with the casings, but the taste, it's there. All right, thanks for watching, and Dave out.